in the vote blue, no matter who sphere about, well, accountability and where all the money's going. And the Democrats are saying they don't have any leverage. But I kind of want to see what's happening if someone actually audits the Federal Reserve. Now, I'm not going to trust anyone from Washington, D.C., but I am curious what Representative Thomas Massie would do. He's one of the very few people to give away the true secret sauce about the influence of AIPAC and their babysitters over everybody here in Congress. One of the very few people to address that, yes, there is corruption in Washington, D.C., and he is the face of the meme, being all happy, starting your first day in Congress, and then finally being gloom and grimdark. The man has seen things in his time, and while I may not agree with him on some political issues, I do want to see what is in a potential audit for the Federal Reserve. So let's go and pull up this video here. This is a short 1 minute, 25 seconds, but it is fascinating to see the overall change of things happening in America.
To talk about the bill to audit the Federal Reserve is H.R. 24. And every year I have to rush to the well of the House on the first day of Congress to introduce the audit the Fed bill so that I can get that H.R. 24. It comes up very early. Everybody, you can imagine with 435 congressmen, everybody's got a bill they want to put in on the first day. That would require a complete and total transparent audit of the Federal Reserve. That bill has passed the House and it's gone to the Senate, but they've not, in the past, not this Congress, it hasn't passed the House, but there should be no problem to pass the House this Congress. The thing is, when it gets to the Senate, you've got some senators over there. I'll give you his initials, Bernie Sanders, who, when he was in the House, supported an audit of the Fed. And then,
wait a minute. I swear I heard that name before. I think Jimmy Dore and myself and a few other people have called him a spineless, nutless wonder. Did everybody hear the name Bernie Sanders? Did Representative Thomas Massie drop the name Bernie Sanders? Well, gee, Bernie. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Bernie, you got some splaining to do.
But there should be no problem to pass the House this Congress. The thing is, when it gets to the Senate, you've got some senators over there. I'll give you his initials, Bernie Sanders, who, when he was in the House, supported an audit of the Fed. And then when he got to the Senate, he's like, well, I don't know about auditing the Fed.
What, Mr. Sanders? Bernie? Hey, Bernie, your wazoo is showing. Did you bomb your pants? Why don't you want to audit the Fed? Hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat here, because we're going to return back to that real quick. We're going to return back to it as a family. We will. How do you feel about the Fed? Type 1 for Kit. It is a trusted institution. Auditing the Fed is just a way of people bullying and using their power. You're better than this. Shame on you, you awful man. Type 2. Now let's audit the Fed. Why is that cuck Bernie being a cuck to the Feds? What's going on here? What's going on here? I kind of want to know. Okay? And also, hold on. Eric Cruz tipped $5. Old, disabled, and autistic with 60 grand of student loan debt and 8 grand in credit card debt. I'll keep voting Democrat because they will help me. Oh, yes, Democrats. The Democrats will always help you. They will. And they'll never once lie to you. They'll never once stab you in the back. And look, be clear here, Republican politicians are the same way. But that is one hell of a name drop. Say it again, Rep. Who was that guy one more time, DJ?
This Congress. The thing is, when it gets to the Senate, you've got some senators over there. I'll give you his initials, Bernie Sanders, who, when he was in the House, supported an audit of the Fed. And then when he got to the Senate, he's like, well, I don't know about auditing the Fed. So it's a little harder to get it through the Senate, but this is one of those bills that we should be doing in the first 100 days and putting it over there, because it's completely in line with Doge and some of the president's priorities and just transparency to begin with. I've got also going to introduce another bill just to completely end the Federal Reserve. I mean, because that would be my preference. I just probably can't get that bill passed through the House yet.
Now, the thing is, if we are talking about actually really holding some kind of accountability in for our government, for our institutions, we do need to make sure what is being spent, what is being wasted. We have to know overall where our money is going to. Now, there is a bigger distraction here because, folks, as soon as you see one thing happening before you, they're trying to have you ignore something else here altogether. Because after all, with Doge going after USAID, they're telling you that all foreign aid has been stopped except for Israel. They're still getting that money. Let's not forget, too, that Ukraine is still knocking at the door like that guy saying, hey, give me some money. I promise I'll pay you back by tomorrow. Scratching her neck, acting all suspicious. Where's the money? Where's the money? Please, can I have some of that money? There's always that big distraction. You talk about how government workers are being offered buyouts, even the CIA as well, or how the CIA is being reformed, or how the CIA is going to be turned around because Trump and them are going to be cutting away all the fat. There's always a distraction. So yes, show people what Doge is doing. And to be clear, yes, there's a lot of mismanagement going on here, stuff that we demand answers to. But auditing the Fed, it's never been done. To audit the Fed is something that is historic. And the fact that even now you have politicians who you would think, in theory, people who we once respected, like you, Bernie, would be in the front line calling for this, to be a strong ally in the Senate. I mean, Thomas Massie seems to be calling you out. And while I may not agree with him on many things, I do want to know what the government is wasting our money on. What's being done in our name, both foreign and domestic? What is being done in our name? What is being spent in our name for our good? We've been in the dark. Turn the lights on and watch all the cockroaches run away. That being said, folks, if you think we're done here, I don't think so. Lawrence Fine says, I bet it's worse than the Pentagon. I'll end it here. Which audit do you think will be more shocking and will cause people to faint in absolute panic? The audit of the Pentagon or the audit of the Fed? No such thing as a wrong answer. Be creative here, folks.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, not me, us, as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark. And all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.